Hi, my name is Alyssa Bester, and I will be presenting this PowerPoint on Sigmund Freud. This PowerPoint is created and is now being presented by myself. So, Sigmund Freud was born on May 6th, 1836, in Freiburg, Moravia, which has now been renamed. Excuse me if I am mispronouncing that. So, education and early career, he studied medicine at the University of Vienna. Uh, Starting in about 1873, he was particularly interested in the sciences and chose to specialize in neurology. He completed his medical degree in 1850 or 1881, my apologies, and worked at the Vienna General Hospital, where he conducted research on cerebral palsy, aphasia, and other neurological disorders. So he eventually transitioned from neurology to psychoanalysis, which led to his career as a philosopher. He transitioned at when his he tran so he transitioned from neurology to psychoanalysis, and began with his interest in the psychological origins of neurotic disorders. So he kind of combined it there a little bit through his clinical work and collaboration with Joseph Breuer. Freud developed his theories about the unconscious mind, dreams, and the role of repressed sexual desires in shaping behavior, and which marked the beginning of the psychoanalysis as a distinct field of study and treatment. So these are the things that he is most well known for. So key events would be his establishment of psychoanalytic theory, my apologies, and publication of major works. So his establishment of psychoanalytic theory was marked by several key publications and milestones. In 1899, he published The Interpretation of Dreams, which introduced many of his revolutionary ideas about the unconscious mind and as well as dream interpretation. So this work was followed by the Psychopathology of Everyday Life, which was in 1901, and the three essays on the theory of sexuality, which was, I want to say, about 1905. So he died September 23rd, year 1939, in London, so the UK. He passed away. He had fled, so he had fled to London with his family following the Nazi annexation. I could pronounce that word wrong. My apologies again. Of Austria. His death marked the end of an era of psychoanalysis, unfortunately, but his theories and methods continue to evolve and influence generations of scholars, practitioners of psychology, and related disciples. Um, he definitely influenced a lot of people, even those who don't necessarily agree with all of his work. He still had somewhat of impact on. So he has been very impactful. So, as I previously mentioned, he had a couple of major brain contributions, such as the title. If you'll look, that is a picture of him. I also included a picture in the previous slide of him as well. So, the interpretation of dreams is one of his most famous and influential works. He introduced several key concepts, and these led to become foundational to psychoanalysis, such as the concept of the unconscious mind, Freud argued that much of human behavior is determined by unconscious motives, desires, and conflicts that are typically inaccessible to conscious awareness. Dreams, according to Freud, are our window into this unconscious realm. So, uh, I'll get into more depth on that in a future slide. So, dream analysis. Freud proposed that dreams are a form of wish fulfillment where unconscious desires and conflicts manifest symbolically. He developed techniques for interpreting um, dreams, emphasizing the importance of Latin content, hidden meaning versus manifest content, literal content. And then symbolism and psychopathology. Freud's exploration of dreams led him to develop these theories about how unconscious conflicts, such as repressed desires or traumas, manifest in symptoms of psychopathology. Understanding these hidden meanings, he argued, could help alleviate psychological stress. So then it was 3 essays on the theory of sexuality, which, yeah, it was 1905. In this work, Freud expanded his theories beyond neurology and dream analysis to focus on human development, and unfolds this through stages of psychosexual development, each characterized by different zone and associated conflicts, which I'll go into more depth on at a later point. He also introduced the Oedipus complex as a central concept in psychoanalytic theory, describing a child's unconscious desire for their opposite sex parent. So if it's a girl, desire towards their father, or if it is a boy, desire towards their mother. And then additionally, having a rivalry with the same sex parent. So kind of competing. They felt as though they were competing with if it was girl, their mom, or if it was boy, their dad. And he argues that this plays a crucial role in personality development. This is actually something a lot of people think of when they hear his name, just because it's honestly mind baffling to a lot of people, myself included. And then the third was sexual drives and repression. Freud's exploration of sexuality highlighted its role in shaping personality and psychological health. He emphasized that the significance of sexual drive and libido and the repression of sexual desires in the development of neurosis. Then lastly, Beyond the Pleasure Principle, which he released in 1920, and this introduced the concept of the death drive thanatos, I believe is that how it's pronounced, alongside the pleasure principle. And beyond the pleasure principle, Freud extended his earlier theories to incorporate new concepts and observations from his clinical practice and studies of human behavior during World War One. Freud introduced the concept of the death drive, which represents a fundamental urge towards death, destruction, and return to inorganic state. This concept contrasts with the pleasure principle, which drives individuals to seek pleasure and avoid pain. The unconscious mind. So, Freud's view on the unconscious and its influence on behavior. As you can see in the image I included, this is I believe it's called the iceberg theory. It may have a different name. It basically shows how, like, the tip of the iceberg is conscious level, which is thoughts, perception. Then right here, just below the water, is the pre-conscious level, the waterline, which is memories and stored knowledge. So this would be sort of subconscious, like where you're awake, but you're not like consciously um, focused. And then there is the unconscious level, which includes rational wishes, fears, violent motives, unacceptable sexual desires, shameful experiences, selfish needs. So this is all below the surface, which is what this, so that's why it's unconscious. He proposed that it's divided into these three parts: conscious, preconscious, and unconscious. Um, and as the image shows, which contains what. I believe that is a really great way to explain that, especially for visual learners. And then the influence on behavior. Freud argued that much of human behavior is driven by unconscious motivations, conflicts, and desires. These unconscious elements can manifest in several ways, such as symptoms and neurosis. Freud believed that the symptoms of psychological disorders such as phobias, anxiety, or depression often stem from unconscious conflicts or unresolved issues. For example, a phobia might represent a displaced fear stemming from an unconscious source. Which, the next slide. Psychosexual development. This is the thing that I said I was going to touch on at a later slide. This is that slide. So, psychosexual development, the stages, there are 5 stages: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. So I included the ages, how oral 0 to 1, anal's 2 to 3, so on and so forth, as you can see. So the oral stage, which is like the first year of someone's life, is called oral because children derive pleasure from oral activities, including talking, like sucking and tasting on things. And they like to put things in their mouth. Obviously, this is partially from